The Edition XS and Sundara. Build quality, I like that the cups swivel on the XS. They are pretty comfortable. There isn't a lot of clamp force, and it does feel like they're going to kind of fall off your head at any point, but they're pretty comfortable. I don't like the headband. The person who lent these to me suggested you can get like headband coverings. I actually bought one for another headphone I have, so yeah, but I would maybe suggest doing the same for this because it is a bit uncomfortable. The Sundara, it doesn't swivel. It has a lot more clamp force. Pro and a con there. It feels snug on your head, but it kind of wears at me after a bit of time. You could probably bend the headband though. I I prefer this headband's comfort, but it's still I find this uncomfortable for long periods of time. Yeah, kind of just is what it is. Both of them have right angle connectors. I freaking hate right angle connectors. The Sundara cable though, it's janky. The XS cable is it's pretty well behaved. So I mean, though it kind of has a cheap look, at least it's functional. The Sundara cable, I can't stand this thing. How do they sound? How do they sound? Technicality wise, the XS is essentially better in just about every single way over the Sundara. When it comes to tuning, maybe there's room for preference there. But yeah, let's kind of get into the tuning because yeah, technicality wise, it's just XS is just a straight improvement on Sundara in so many ways. Yeah, tuning wise, bass. The XS has a sufficient amount of bass. It's not a lot. It's not like bass head level, but it at least goes all the way down. Like with Sundara, on some tracks, the bass just it craps out. It's gone. It's like where did the sub bass go? I don't know. Anyone see it? No, I haven't heard from him in a long time. That's Sundara. XS actually reaches all the way down. So yeah, mids. That's where Sundara maybe has a slight advantage. Around 1 to 2K on the Edition XS, there is a cut. It is noticeable on some tracks. It kind of comes off like someone's hand is a little bit in front of their mouth when they're talking. It's hard to explain. It doesn't, you don't lose detail. The detail is all still there, but tone and timbre can sometimes be a little bit weird there. The Sundara has a better kind of mid-range in that area. That being said, when it comes to overall tone and timbre, the fact that Sundara has that heavy bass roll-off, you can oftentimes lose some of those lower harmonics in a lot of instruments like bass guitar, stuff like that. And it does take away from the music. It is noticeable. It is quite noticeable. Treble. Oof, oof. Like, because upper mids and treble, let's just talk about that as a whole here. Little bit too much energy, around 5K for me in the Edition XS. It's like around that area. I'm not exactly sure, but it's enough that I notice it on some tracks. Otherwise, I like the treble on this. It's perfectly fine. I didn't find this overly fatiguing. The only thing that really, came out at me is that cut around 2K that it did bother me on some tracks. Sundara's treble, it is pretty decent. I think it's well tuned. It's just the fact that there's no bass, it throws the whole balance off. With that much bass roll off, yeah, I just prefer even less of everything else. Basically, it's just yeah, you got to have some tonal balance. Just kind of is what it is. Let's talk about some tracks, some specific tracks here. Big Boy Killed Jill. The Edition XS just destroyed the Sundara. This is that song I was talking about where you're going through all the bass hits and then out of nowhere, this just drops out. I had to really listen deep and I could kind of pick it out still. But like, oh gosh, I had to listen for it. And I did not enjoy that because it just throws it off. It's like something's missing. Like where the heck is my bass? Like I'm listening to, I've heard this song on a bunch of different IEMs, on a bunch of different headphones. And yeah, it's just like where's my bass? It just drops out. The XS doesn't drop out. It isn't emphasized. It's not a bass headphone, but it doesn't drop out. So at least it reaches all the way down, and I could hear it. That's a huge plus there. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, they're pretty good. Otherwise, around everything else, I did. This is a song that the 2K cut. It didn't really bother me. The 1975 "Love Me," bass reaching all the way down again. I lean to the XS. Though that 2K cut, it did bother me on this song because their guitar tone, it's just so spanky and it's so good. The 2K cut did kind of cut into that, and it made it a little bit less enjoyable for me. But the bass extension, having all those lower harmonics in place, it made it more enjoyable than Sundara. So I still give it to the Edition XS. It was better there. Say you do Old Dominion. As much as I preferred, again, the upper mid timbre of the Sundara, it comes off more natural. The lower bass extension, bass is really important to me. At least, being able to hear it all, like all the way down, it just is what it is. So for my personal preferences, again, I lean to the XS because it had enough bass that I could hear it all, and Sundara just kind of drops out. And it's like, as much as that 2K cut bothers me with the sound of things like acoustic guitars and vocals and electric guitars, it yeah, the bass extension kind of makes it worth it for me, I guess. Money in the Bag by Lights. Again, the XS, the bass extension. Must I say more? You don't really realize like how much you miss in the music until you're being like this, and you're like, oh yeah, there's actually audible things missing in my music with Sundara, and it's kind of a deal breaker. I'm not gonna lie, I never listened to this headphone, and now I know why. Because when you're being it, it's like, yeah, no, there's stuff missing from my music. No wonder I don't enjoy this headphone. So yeah, for this song, Money in the Bag, Lights, again, I go for the Edition XS. Vocals, that 2K cut, it did bother me with this song, but it still sounded better. Norah Jones, Don't Know Why. This one is the only one where the Sundara was like tied. Like this is the song where they were like I enjoyed them both equally. Sundara played that really well. Yeah, there's some bass roll off, but that song doesn't overly reach into the sub bass too much. And the upper mids they sounded a little bit better for Norah Jones's voice. The Edition XS, it does have that bass reach, so again, it does make that more enjoyable. But the upper mids was a huge issue on this song. Upper mids and treble was a bit of an issue for me. So they kind of tied on that song. So I own the Sundara. I bought this used from the person who lent me these, actually. I think I'm gonna sell Sundara. I don't think I'm gonna get the Edition XS because as much as I like it more than Sundara, and this experience has taught me that I really don't enjoy Sundara, I love my Aeon 2 Noir, especially with like the level 1, like the thinnest of the dampening inside there. It's just enough that it doesn't take away too much detail, but it kind of fixes a bit of a something in there, like a resonance or reflection or something. I love my Aeon 2 Noir. There's enough bass for me. Like that is enough bass for me. It's sufficient in every way, and like the tonal balance, much better. And then yeah, it has some spice in the treble, but like the overall tonal balance is just so enjoyable for me, and the comfort is unmatched for me personally for a headphone. So I'm probably just going to sell Sundara. I'm probably not going to get the Edition XS. As much as I like the Edition XS more than the Sundara, it's just I don't think either of these headphones are personally for me, but I could see why others would enjoy these. I can definitely see why others enjoy these. When I showed them to my one friend, he's also a musician like myself. He really liked the Edition XS. He said that this has a wow factor. He liked the Sundara at first listen, but he prefers the Edition XS, and he loves my Aeon 2 Noir as well. But he really liked this, and he said, you know, for the price, he can see the value in this. So I kind of lean the same way. I can see the value in the Edition XS. I think at its price, it's solid. The fact that it's an open back that goes all the way down at that price, I think it's a great buy. It's just that 2K cut, it does bother me enough that it is a bit of a deal breaker for me. I could EQ it in, but I mean, yeah, I just like my Aeon 2 Noir. I'll just listen to that if I want to play an alright. Is what it is. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Until next time,